RPN and Comfy Sunday are not responsible for the views, actions, opinions, or statements of its guests or advertisers. The information contained in this program is not to be construed as medical or legal advice. An appearance on this broadcast is not to be considered an endorsement, and as always, we encourage you to do your own research. Enjoy the show. Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of Comfy Sunday. Methods and I are here for our annual Sunday night comfy chat. Jim Watkins is going to be joining us in the second hour. I hope you guys like that card. I put a lot of hard work into that. I'm pretty proud of it myself. I've got some letters and some gifts from the viewers. Hopefully the people who sent these are watching. Do us a favor, if you will, my friends. Please consider liking and sharing this broadcast. Help us break through the algorithm. I hope everyone is having a lovely Memorial Day weekend. Make sure you get outside and get some sunshine. It is good medicine. All right, gang. Please do us a favor. Sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. The COVID-19 crisis is causing aftershocks all throughout the world economy. Everything is at risk now, especially the food supply. Yes, the government can print bailout money, but they can't print food. Food takes time and the production follows a tight schedule. But COVID-19 interfered with that schedule. And now there are gaps in the supply chain that will soon show up as food shortages at your local grocery store. Are you prepared? What if you can't buy any food for a couple of weeks? Well, don't panic. Just go to preparewithredpill78.com right now, and you can save $100 off a 4-week food supply of delicious, nutritious food from My Patriot Supply. They're the top-rated company I personally use and trust for my emergency food. You'll breathe easy when you receive your 4-week kit. It gives you enough meals to get you through the coming food shortage nightmare, and the food tastes like home cooking too. So don't delay. Go to preparewithredpill78.com right now. Get your order today. Tomorrow might be too late. Once again, that's preparewithredpill78.com. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today, and welcome to another edition of Comfy Sunday. Methods, how are you today, buddy? Got the mute on, my friend. Oh, we lost him. Oh, man. All right. Well, while we're waiting for Methods to come back, I'm sure he's okay, but, you know, they love to do this to us as soon as we jump on the air. I've got a couple of letters I want to show off. Look at this beautiful scene right here. This looks to be a handmade card. And this is from Rachel T. Rachel, I don't want to say your last name. Sometimes, guys, if I say your last name, I do apologize. I don't mean to do that. So I wanted to say thank you, Rachel, for the letter and the contents of the card. Also, I have another letter here from Diane N, where we go one, we go all. Thank you very much, Diane. Look at that. It says thanks and seashells. I have a letter here from B. B, you know who you are. It starts out, I am 61 years old and awake for many years. I appreciate that one, B. And then also at Jennifer Adele on Twitter, she made me this ink print. And I know it's backwards. Unfortunately, I can't make it go regular. But it's a nurse with a message written on the mask. It says, "What if cures already exist?" So it's keeping in line with the theme of our favorite anon. Very cool. And then look at this on the back. She made these gold Pepe dollar bills. They say, all your Fed are belong to us. And then there is the no sign over the eye of the pyramid. Also, Town Crier has sent me 3 copies of this book, one for myself, one for Methods, and then one for a lucky member of the audience. We're going to give this away at the end of the day. It's called The Electoral College for Patriots by Town Crier. Is it being implemented constitutionally by 29 states and D.C.? Farewell, NPV Compact, we hardly knew you. So if you are interested in learning about the implementation of the Electoral College and you are a fan of American history, please stick around till the end of the program. We're going to be going and giving that away to somebody here in the audience. Now, I don't know where Methods is. It looks like perhaps he might have had his internet crash. This is one of the reasons why it's so important we get his computer all set up, because we want it to be reliable. There's a lot that goes into making these shows, guys. You know, you got to have a good computer. You got to have good internet. Yeah, the things I show are always backwards, chirping cricket. I know. It's even if I mirror the video. Well, the video is mirrored right now. But even if I turn it the other way, it's always going to be backwards. There is no way for me to make it so that you guys see things and it's not backwards, unfortunately. I hope you guys are all having a great weekend. I've got some things that Methods and I are definitely going to be speaking about, and we're going to be talking about our new show that's going to be starting next week. Don't forget, I am taking the day off tomorrow. I might upload like a short, just video vlog, me on the phone with the dogs or something like that, so keep your eyes open for that. But the 2 regular shows are going to be coming back on Tuesday. We're going to be doing our new show. We're still chewing on the name. That's going to be starting at 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday. And then, of course, Red Pill News coming back at 6 p.m. You guys, they are continuing to stall my live numbers back here. I can't see how many people we have here. I can't see how many likes we have. So if you could do me a favor and give me those numbers in the chat, I would really appreciate it. And here's another thing. As we're going on, it is stopping the admin back end that I should be able to have on the live streaming from even showing back up. So as it is right now, I can't put the chat back on the screen. So let me see if I can get it pulled up on my phone, and that way at least I can keep up with you guys. Let's see. I don't know where it's going. So yeah, I guess I kind of want to know what you guys are up to this weekend. Are you paying homage to any fallen brothers and sisters, family members? Did you go to any cemeteries? Did you pay your respects to anyone? My father was a veteran. He passed away in October of 2009. He was cremated, so there's no gravesite for me to go to. However, both of my grandfathers are buried, and I could go ahead and go to their gravestones. My dad's father was a veteran, but my mom's dad was too young for World War I and then too old for World War II, so he didn't get to go to war at all. Let me see what is going on with this. Why won't this come up? Well, there we go. All right, here it goes. So we've got just over 1,600 people here. And then keep in mind, we've got Jim Watkins from 8kun. He's going to be coming in the second hour of the program. We're going to be checking in with him, see how he's doing. What he's been up to. There's been some new features coming to 8kun, some new domains that you can go to get to those features. Makes it easier to find that stuff and interact with the information going on there. Let's see here. So I did have at least one person I needed to thank. Rod Cook has joined as a member. Thank you very much, Rod. And Theshua says, consider interviewing someone from the Thorium Energy Alliance, originally developed in the 1950s to be used on airships similar to submarines. I am familiar with the Thorium Energy Alliance. I would absolutely love to interview somebody from that group. I'm familiar with thorium and its use as a nuclear fuel, but it's a clean nuclear fuel. I know thorium is very abundant in every single country on the earth. And at one time, thorium was going to be used in nuclear reactors, across the country. And they switched it over to uranium, plutonium, whatever it is. And I don't remember the exact reason why, but I know that they wanted to make it from that, even though it was way unsafe. Not a good thing. Yes, clean fuel. Thorium is clean fuel, and it's a great thing to use. I don't know why we're not using it right now. I would imagine that at this point, the safety protocols on standard nuclear reactors, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, you have one mistake, one catastrophic failure, and things can go really, really bad. Thorium, you don't have to deal with that. I mean, it's a cool system. I mean, isn't it? Thorium salt reactors. I would definitely like to see that. So, anybody have you seen Methods pop up in the chat? Here he is. Okay, no problem. He's back. Methods, are you there, buddy?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Not much. What happened? Do you have another thunderstorm?
No, not another thunderstorm, but as soon as we're getting started, man, it just cut.
Yeah. Well, what I do is I restart my computer, like right before I start the call, so then hopefully nothing can go wrong. It clears everything out.
That's exactly what I did, but here we are. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, chat? How are y'all doing tonight?
Nova X 432 Hertz has joined as a promoter. Thank you very much, Nova X. Appreciate it. So yeah, Methods. I was just telling the audience about my weekend. Pretty low key. I hope everybody had a chance to see the two shows we did. Friday night we had Zen Garcia. That was an interesting conversation. And then last night, Professor Aaron von Drager. He was super, super fun to talk to. I could have spoken to that guy for another 4 hours. Did you get a chance to check that one, Methods?
Yeah, I caught both, and I enjoyed both shows, a whole bunch. They were just really intriguing conversations. Yeah. Even at one point, like I was listening on my phone, and I was planning on like doing something else, but I was so caught up in the conversation, I was just sitting there kind of like with that fluoride stare.
Right.
And even my wife looked at me and she goes, "Are you okay?" Because she didn't see my phone. And she just thought I was just sitting there staring into a corner. No, I was just engaged in the conversation with what you were doing, and it was great. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I've been talking to Aaron for several months, trying to, get the time to put him on. And I've said before, I stopped myself from continuing to schedule out more than a month in advance. So I was able to get it worked out so that he was able to come back. I thought it was a really good conversation. He's been around doing this work for, over 4 decades. And it's interesting that he comes from Canada. I mean, I talked about this a little bit on the show, but we have so many people here from Canada. And it seems like the people who are awake in Canada are just, very awake. But then you have a large group of other people in Canada who, I don't know, they seem to be like 10 or 15 years behind.
I get a lot of, why can't we have, like, can you give us Trump when you're done with him? Comments and stuff. Yeah, no, a lot of Canadian patriots out there. Shout out to you guys if you're listening. But yeah, no, the whole conversations were great. And to that whole booking point, me and you struggle with that, booking so far in advance that it doesn't leave us an opportunity for somebody who just pops up out of the blue.
Right.
So, but every time we pick somebody, we're really excited about it. The next few weeks of Comfy Sunday is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be just a blockbuster next month or so. Definitely looking forward to it. Now, Given Nuisance says no like button today. There's always a like button. Maybe if you're in the chat, you're not going to be able to like the video on your phone. Close the chat, hit like, go back into the chat. That should work. Maybe... Mike Kin, you're so awake, Red Pill. That's not what I'm talking about. What I mean is that the Canadian government, the society and the system in Canada has kept people asleep to a greater degree because of their semi-socialist conditioning. It's certainly not. It's not a comment on where I'm at in my own personal development, and I don't mean to sound that I'm besmirching anybody in Canada. Excuse me. But Aaron, the way he described it is that the people in Canada have been conditioned essentially to, just behave in that way. Canadians are the nicest people. I've always been told that. I've always thought that myself visiting Canada. and and they've kind of made this society where people are predispositioned to stay asleep. So that's why I appreciate the people from Canada who come here and watch the show, because they give us that perspective. Canada seems like it would be the same culture as the United States, and to a degree it is, but it's not also. I mean, it's very different as well.
Right. I mean, this is an international movement, and we have to remind ourselves of that, because I'll say like good afternoon on a different show, and people will be like, I'm listening to you at 4 a.m. my time. It's like, okay, yeah, you have to remind us of that. But that's the beauty of this movement, is that we're right now, for example, in this chat talking with people from all over. Have you asked the chat where everybody's from? Do we have anybody from places we haven't announced before? Why don't you guys go ahead and hit in the chat where you're from, if you don't mind. If you don't want to, that's cool, but let us know where you're from.
Yeah, it looks like people are saying that it's people are saying that the chat is messed up. I did see somebody say they were from Scotland earlier. We've got a Blame Canada, which is my favorite song from any musical, Blame Canada. Toronto. Yeah, definitely, guys, give us the update on where you're from. And Joe asked, what do we think's going to happen in November with voting? Well, this is a perfect segue into our first story that I wanted to talk about. President Trump, he's sounding the alarm bells. I mean, he's sounding the alarm bells in quite a few different ways right now. But he's specifically talking about this very issue. Oh wow, I see a Japan. I saw a Sydney, Australia. I saw an Amsterdam, Nova Scotia, Virginia, Alaska, Antarctica. That's interesting. I wonder if that really is Antarctica. Cape Horn, another Australia, NorCal, Nova Scotia, Philadelphia, Barbados, Waco, Howell, Michigan, Oklahoma, Netherlands. Chat is not gone. Chat is still there. Yeah. Wow.
Well,
Somalia? Did I see a Somalia?
I'll say to that point about the chat issues, I've been watching a few other streams over the last week since I see a lot of people talking about it. This problem's happening everywhere. Something with the chat issues. I don't know what it is. We like to blame YouTube for hating our existence, but then again, you never know.
Saturn. I see a Saturn. I think that something has fundamentally changed with the code on the website, because from the admin perspective, uploading videos and just putting my content on the air, that's different. That's now different. It's behaving differently. There are features that were not there before. It seems that they've got different levels of checks and balances that they're trying to put in there. Oh yeah, slow mode. Sorry guys. Sorry about the slow mode. I thought that was on.
Yeah, slow mode, the perfectly functioning chat.
Yeah, yeah. At least that way we can get people, hopefully we'll be able to read the chats that go by. I'm never on YouTube on my phone. Like, I'm always on my computer or tablet or my TV. Honestly, I watch the most YouTube on my TV. So the chat is, not out of control for me. But I realize most people are watching on their phones, and so maybe it's a little difficult. Let's see. Patriot Dog Dad 1 says, this weekend is dedicated to SPC Braden, SGT Romero, Sergeant Cervantes, and Sergeant Hepner, friends and fellow NCOs I lost in Iraq and Afghanistan. I honor them by living the best life I can. Hooah. That's beautiful, Patriot Dog Dad. Thank you. Trump Be Cool says, I have 100 cues for Jim, but please have him talk about the attacks they deal with daily and how sophisticated they are. Lots of money spent on these attacks. They always need our support. We're definitely going to go ahead and talking to him about that. Sheila Garrett says, just set up a PayPal account to donate to Methods towards a new computer. I appreciate you both so much. Thank you very much, Sheila, and thank you to anybody who's donated to Methods for his new equipment. Hopefully, we're going to have him doing top-notch content here before too long.
Right. Yeah, no, thank you, Sheila, and thank you, everybody who set me up on it. I am looking to do that this week. I've kind of figured out where I can order these things from during this entire madness of the Kung Flu. But yeah, no, thank you guys for doing that for sure. It's definitely helped me out with it because of what we want to do and, further along creating content. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, most def. Gaffer Anon, what's up, buddy? Got my popcorn. Looking forward to today's show. In Method's voice, please like and share today's show. Keck. Yeah, slow mode is on, Mike. We put on slow mode so that you can only chat once every 2 minutes. That way, It won't just fly by. And so just, consider what it is that you want to say so that we can make sure that we get everything in there in an orderly fashion. So yes, if anybody in the chat hears somebody saying that their comments are being blocked, just do me a favor, explain to them the way that slow mode works. It's a feature on the platform so that people can only chat every so often. That way, with a couple thousand people here, we don't just have everybody chatting all at the same time. But so President Trump did an interview with Cheryl Atkinson this weekend, Methods, and you put a clip out of it. And it was pretty successful. I mean, a lot of people saw that clip and they just went ape because of what President Trump had to say. What was the content of that?
I mean, ultimately, the content is what Trump's been saying more and more, and that's that we're what he was set up and being attacked, and the fact that he can say that we caught them all is that kind of hat tip to all of us that are holding on to the idea that accountability is going to happen. We don't see that a lot. Certain things come out, we get attacked, shills, fight it on and all that. But the idea of how they were caught and set up, and the fact that Trump, especially the new thing he said this time that really caught my attention was, I have a chance to break the deep state. Mm-hmm. And that is a great thing to hear, especially for all of us who are paying attention and rooting for justice to happen.
And I think it was interesting that he chose Cheryl Atkinson to do the interview with, because she has an active lawsuit against the Department of Justice and some people, some high-level people in the DOJ. So I think that the people that she is actively has legal ramifications of pursuing are the very people that President Trump is working to unseat from any type of power within the government. I mean, clearly it's the deep state themselves that went after Cheryl Atkinson. It was the last presidential administration and the people that they've helped to install over the last couple of decades. And with President Trump choosing her for the interview and making this particular comment, I think it was very timely, very, very interesting to hear him say that. I mean, clearly President Trump has never been shy about what he wanted to say, but when you think about him making these statements, like right now at this time in history, with everything that's going on, all the revelations that are taking place, it appears to be very, very much happening to me. I've been saying for a long time that it's been happening, but in my mind, it really has. I mean, it's never stopped happening. As soon as President Trump came into office, there were just little increments, things that were taking place that were getting us closer and closer to actually draining the swamp. I mean, the swamp goes down a foot a day as far as I'm concerned, because President Trump is always working on it. The people that we got somebody from Wuhan, China here.
That's awesome.
Al Affectious wants to know how I say comfy. How do you say comfy? Comfy.
Yeah, he says comfy right, but he says research wrong.
Research. I mean, I don't know that I say it a particular way. I mean, research. I mean, isn't that how you say it? But I suppose in conversation, I might say research, just, depending on the inflection of the words around it.
Not here, but to that point about having Atkinson do the interview with Trump, the same kind of thing. Like they targeted her. She gets attacked because she does real journalism. She's really working hard to get to the truth, let the chips fall where they may, and just report it. And then, so of course they attack her. And then in turn, think about what's happened to Chanel from OAN. She asked just a couple questions, or really just one, about some truth, and then she gets immediately attacked, note on her desk, threats and stuff like that. That's real journalism. And I would go on a limb and say it would be absolutely awesome for Chanel to interview Trump. Like, imagine the triggering that would happen, that we would all feel across the entire world for him to do that. But in turn, that we need to lift up these journalists that are really trying. They're on platforms that are doing the best they can. And to me, that's very important, to give those people that type of interview, talking about these things, because otherwise you're going to be getting, the questions back that are trying to take apart your narrative. Those type of journalists will allow it to be and let them talk.
Now, Meadow Dancer Wow just she spelled it out, or he spelled it out, whoever you are, male or female. Research is a noun. This is my research, and then I'm doing research as a verb. So I guess it's right both ways. It just
I'm
depends.
I'm from the South, man. We talk how we talk.
All right. Well, I mean, in thinking about Cheryl Atkinson being surveilled, post 4309 from a couple days ago, reminded us of John Solomon and Sarah Carter also being surveilled, saying that this is worth remembering soon. So it makes me think that either there's going to be some revelations coming out in regards to the deep state surveilling reporters, or perhaps it could have been pointing to that interview with Cheryl Atkinson, just because Sarah Carter, John Solomon, they have that commonality. All three of them were all surveilled by the deep state. But we've got quite a few new posts that we wanted to go over today. Now, there is a quite a long one that's first. Let me make this smaller so I can bring it over here. But post 4310 from earlier today, 135. So we've got an image, which is that recently fully declassified email that Susan Rice wrote. And it's breaking down the information that was newly revealed. So relevance regarding Susan Rice's top secret D-class paragraph. And that paragraph, again, from a national security perspective, Comey said he does have some concerns that informing NSA Flynn is speaking frequently with Russian Ambassador Kislyak. Comey said that could be an issue as it relates to sharing sensitive information. President Obama asked if Comey was saying that the NSC should not pass sensitive information related to Russia to Flynn. Comey replied, potentially. What was really discussed during that January 5th meeting? Hussein order preventing sharing of intel regarding Russia? Would such an order shield Hussein administration from discovery regarding Obamagate? Would such an order shield Clinton camp from discovery regarding Clinton DNC Russian collusion? Would such an order be known to POTUS or classified? If classified, how could it be discovered? NSA Mike Rogers step down, retire, date. I believe that was November 18th. 2016, wasn't it? Because the meeting with him and Trump was November 17th. And then NSA Mike Rogers, Trump Tower, SCIF secure date. Brennan, Clapper, Carter push to terminate NSA Mike Rogers date. Washington Post article that's included here. The heads of the Pentagon and the nation's intelligence community have recommended to President Obama that the director of the National Security Agency, Admiral Mike S. Rogers, be removed. The recommendation delivered to the White House last month was made by Defense Secretary Ashton B. Carter and Director of National Intelligence James R. Clapper, Jr., according to several U.S. officials familiar with the matter. How do you circumvent the shadow intel community? And then we have a link to the Intercept. Let me get that pulled up here. So the article is entitled Trump White House Weighing Plans for Private Spies to Counter Deep State Enemies. This is from December of 2017. And who is in the picture? Is that Eric Prince? That is Eric Prince. So it looks like maybe President Trump set up a private spy agency outside of the deep state spy agency so that we could get around this stuff. I love the idea of that. I've been wondering what was up with Eric Prince because go ahead.
No, it's spy versus spy, right? I mean, at that point, I like the idea. It reminds me of back channels are important that our favorite nods brought up. But yeah, man, go ahead. Oh, just real quick to the point. One of many says, Methods, why does your insignia emblem symbol appear so mantis insect malicious like and/or ungodly / unclean? I made my logo when this was when it was going to be used for something else, and it happened to be a project that was music related. I listened to metal. It is what it is. But no, I didn't make it as something to be just that kind of thing. It just fit the style of music that I was going for. But the music was actually Red Pill related, is what it is. But I figured why not use it, because I was making the music with a good friend of mine who, during the project of making the music, unfortunately passed away. But he always wanted to wake up the world. So I wanted to use that logo during all this to kind of be in his honor.
In memory, in memoriam. Hey Jude said, I see my chat on the TV. My iPad is blank. I think that was because YouTube turned on the top chat instead of the live chat. Inmets, no message, but DKK, is that German? So thank you very much, Inmets. Patricia Furlong says, gathering Colorado, not sure how people can reach me. Patricia Furlong, if you want to put your email into the chat, you just got to break it up so that the .com is not connected to the email. And then anybody who wants to get together with Patricia for a gathering in Colorado, you can go ahead and grab that. And then Inmet's, where we go one, we go all. Hello from Denmark. Okay, answers my question. The swamp is deep here. I've heard that before. I just this weekend did an interview with Ole Damagaard, who is someone who's from Denmark but was raised in Sweden. He's an excellent researcher, and I'm going to be releasing it as a special video someplace else. I don't think that it's safe to release it here. There's recently been some channels who've had videos deleted and strikes given for interviews with Ole. So unfortunately, we're going to put it out someplace else, and then I think I'm going to have to edit it down for content on this platform here. But so continuing here, critical thinking. What did Susan Rice, D-Class, January 5th White House meeting reveal? The Russia intel hold. How do you add layers of protection? Install a special counsel to lock, freeze everything regarding Russia. So special counsels put in place. All of the Russia evidence that they were trying to withhold from President Trump and his administration would then have to go through the special counsel. Instruct and coordinate with the NSC, the intel community, shift arm's length to initiate whistleblower allegations 1 through 9. So clearly, the NSC had a major part to play. Grinnell just pared them down, just got rid of a bunch of people, restructured that. The NSC is where the allegations coming out about the Ukraine phone call came from. Instruct Congress to file articles of impeachment. That's self-explanatory. Coordinate with Red China to terminate the economy. Unemployment gains. Initiate lockdown due to the health concerns. Push fear through DNC media. Instruct governors under control to enact vote by mail. So where has that happened? That's happened in California. I believe that happened in Michigan too. I know that it's happened in other states. Maine was somebody had messaged me from Maine, and I've had several people message me and say that they've gotten ballots for people who are no longer living. And then, of course, just the other day in the Post, we had the story about, was it Pennsylvania methods, where a judge admitted to being paid to stuff the ballot box for Democratic candidates?
That sounds about right. I'm not 100% sure on the state on it, but we know it happened.
Yeah.
And also they're finding, mail-in ballots in other states for different states.
Right.
So, I mean, it's all a mess. It's obviously going to have to be exposed for that going on. But yeah, go ahead and finish this and I'll give you my 2 cents on this post.
Okay. And then, so coincidence, January 15th, not a coincidence. 1, impeachment articles delivered to Senate and then held. 2, China Phase 1 clawback deal signed. 3, first CV-19 case landed in Seattle, all assets deployed. Win by any means necessary. Everything is at stake. Welcome to the shadow presidency of Barack H. Obama. Now, this is great because this gives us a theme for the day, the shadow presidency. Methods, tell me what you take away.
Well, we've talked about it recently, but the whole idea that Obama's been pulling a lot of these strings, because we know there's been a lot of different obstacles and, honeypot type situation to catch Trump and his administration in something to justify an impeachment or whatever they need to do. And we're seeing a bigger picture here on how much Obama was pulling those strings. So to me, if let's just say, for example, if you could directly tie Obama to getting Kislyak to have that phone call, to push that on to catch Flynn, that would be one thing to stop the whole Russia stuff. But what we're seeing from our favorite anon here is that he's making hints that this stuff is already known and they have it. And the idea of having it shown publicly to the world, imagine showing that Obama's been doing his 3rd term, which has been prophesied by multiple people.
That's right, Mark Taylor.
Mark Taylor. And I've caught a video or two here or there of different preachers kind of mentioning that stuff, that there will be a 3rd term president. But we're seeing that play out now, and having that exposed can definitely open the door into taking down a lot of things that happened during said administration, like the Benghazi stuff that happened, like the thread that I put out earlier on the Brotherhood. We'll just call them that. What was Obama really doing during his presidency, especially internationally? And that's why I like that, once again, we have this movement of international patriots, because we're trying to solve these riddles and expose it together. And that's a beautiful thing.
And I mean, we've got another new post. And it immediately takes me back to the post the other day. Sometimes you can't just tell people, you have to show them. We've been hearing about this shadow presidency the entire time President Trump has been in office. There have been stories about it, but as soon as it's mentioned, it just goes away. People don't pay attention to it. So now we've got like a series of drops showing us all over again, wow, when you put these things together, the totality of events, all of these various things, it's so simple. You can just easily see, like, of course Barack has been acting as the shadow president. The next post is pictures, newly released pictures from John Kerry's meetings with the Iranian government, which is a violation of the Logan Act, which is what they wanted to go after General Flynn for. And he was meeting with them, as he's not a member of the government, he's not a representative of the government, but he's doing diplomacy, essentially on behalf of the government that they hope to have installed once they remove President Trump. So the individual that was photographed there was, hold on, it was like Javad Kamani, something like that. Hold on, I just want to get the name right because I found it earlier.
Yeah, full disclosure to everybody listening, like I didn't have a time to really go through these posts today because of that dig that I was doing earlier. And I just want to say shout out to TikTok, my buddy. We did a bunch of digging this afternoon and put that thread together that you guys could find at M2 Madness on Twitter. We had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, so I'm kind of learning with you.
Yeah, Kamal Karzai, that's it. All right. And then in the next one, we have a repost of 4171, and we have an article with the definition of common sense, which is the basic level of practical knowledge and judgment that we all need to help us in a reasonable and safe way. Common sense is sorely lacking in today's world, and it's also the name of Rudy Giuliani's podcast.
Right, and that's Occam's razor. You know, what's the simplest thing, is typically the best. Sometimes, like anytime things come out, me and you have talked about this before, like the extreme connection gets put out there, and it could be. I'm not trying to ever denounce it. That's why I don't go being hall monitor on Twitter trying to tell people what's right and wrong. Because really, we don't know 100% at the end of the day. But always bring it back to the most reasonable explanation and keep it there, but keep the rest of it in your back pocket. That's just my 2 cents.
Yep. And then post 4313, we've got an article from Forbes, and it says worth remembering. And it's once again, this is from December 2017. Trump White House weighs plans for private spies to counter deep state enemies. So again, the same idea. We're being told again. Oh, wait a second. No, it says Obama's weaponization of government in the link, but then that's so weird. It just pulled up the old article. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. This is from January of 2014, talking about Barack Obama weaponizing the U.S. government and the intelligence apparatus. So that is definitely a theme that we need to keep on here because it was necessary for him to carry on a shadow administration through the things that he had put in place. And then the next one is an article from The Guardian. And the tagline is the shadow presidency. It's called Trump debuts in Europe as Obama returns to stir nostalgia for the old days, just showing the work that Obama was doing at the same time. Again, the shadow presidency. And then in the next post, hold on. Oh, welcome. No, the shadow presidency again. This is another article. And this is from The Independent. Obama to meet world leaders in India and China weeks after Trump's visit. Again, just showing the pattern of behavior. And then post 4316, we have a Twitter status, and the message is, fear not, all will be well right after the election. Is this about the virus or the election? Now, this Twitter status is from QAnon 2020, and it says, modeling shows CV-19 pandemic in U.S. could be over by November. Isn't that a coinky-dink? Once again, the coincidences just keep on flowing. So, of course, they want it to be over by then because they're hoping that they're going to have taken the country back over. Post 4317, we have another status from PragerU. Let's take a look at that. The Democrats were on the wrong side of just about every meaningful controversy of the past 200 years. Now, this is only a 50-second video, so why don't we go ahead and take a listen.
Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s. In contrast, The Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely.
Hey, buddy, you're muted.
Sorry about that. How do you change the narrative if facts are not on your side? How do you con the people? Number one, form the Congressional Black Caucus, 1971, compartmentalize and label. Number two, recruit and control black community leaders, net worth of each, look into it. Number three, alter, change, modify history in the classrooms regarding Democratic Party history. Number four, use corporate DNC media, the mainstream media, to push the con. Now use 1, 2, 3, and 4 to drive echo chamber, false, idiotic narrative, bad, pro-slavery D's switched to R party, and good, anti-slavery R's switched to D party. Welcome to the D party. It's all lies. The whole thing is all about lies. And then finally, 4318, only when information becomes truth, only when information, truth, becomes free, uncontrolled, will people awaken to the levers of control placed upon them. Only then will people find the will to change. Only then will people regain control and power. These two posts are great.
Yeah, no, I love them. And to that point about, letting the information flow freely, we need to have this public conversation, the public debate about topics, because we have discussions all the time, Red Pill, about differences of opinion that people have when it comes to saying what's a truth and what's not the truth. And ultimately it's healthy. That's why I try to stay out of it. For the most part, let them do it. I put out what I've researched, what I think is relevant. But you see people all the time, or you see things happening all the time where people are attacking each other over certain stuff. Well, is certain person a white hat, black hat, blah, blah. That's healthy to a point, but I always want people to make sure that they could step back and reevaluate their own opinion or respect that somebody else is just seeing something differently.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Right. And that's to me, the best decision is to just kind of stay out of it. Right. Because I don't want to use whatever influence I have and I come in and say, well, this is how I see it. And then it becomes Method said this, so it must be true. And I could be wrong. It's how. So I like the public debate, but in certain circumstances, I just want to stay out of it. And to me, it's ultimately a beautiful thing to debate more or less instead of argue. That's when, to me, I'm like, oh, come on, guys. We're all trying to get to the truth. We're all trying to get there. But that's fine. Ultimately, it's better than not talking at all. It's better than discussing what happened on the newest TV show that dropped that night. We're covering relevant topics to the point that I also see the passion in these conversations and debates, and that's very inspiring because people care.
When the thing that I'm afraid of is that this programming that we're talking about in post 4317 is what spills out into those very public and vocal arguments that take place, people attacking each other, and you don't believe what I believe, so therefore you must be a shill. You're not saying what I want you to say, therefore you must be a shill. Somebody X person and B person said that Y person is not good, so I'm not going to do my own research. I'm just going to attack them. I feel like this labeling and compartmentalization is a factor from this programming that we're seeing here. I don't get involved in it either. But just because, if I don't get along with somebody, it doesn't mean that I need to go talk smack about them. Okay? Like, I can't say with any level of honesty that I get along with every single person that's out there. I know that there are some people that I clash with, and those people, I just choose not to get involved. I don't talk to them. But I don't need to make that a public thing. I'm not going to tell anybody else how to make up their mind. I encourage you to follow, listen, and research everybody that you can possibly watch on, as many platforms as possible so that you can find the people that you resonate with. And I think that whoever is doing the production and the information, if there is something about them that, you know, is something to give you pause, then that's going to be revealed and it'll come out. And I don't think that people who have a larger voice than other people should be getting involved in stuff like that. I just feel like it's rude, and I don't think that it's responsible. So that's why you'll never hear me talking poorly about anybody. You know, even if there's people that you know, that came after me publicly, if there was something that was said, I'm just going to let that sit on its own, and it's going to marinate, and then other people can make up their own minds about it.
Right. No, I totally agree. And just on that point, first off, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat calling for a like count and viewer count. I guess they got used to me saying that. So, hey, guys, we got about 3,700 people hanging out with us that I see, and also 1.7 thousand likes. If you guys don't mind clicking that like button, that would be fantastic. Help us out. Share this out to everybody on your favorite platforms. We're about to have Jim Watkins on from Acoon. That's going to be an exciting conversation. No telling where that'll go. So, yeah, and guys, if you don't mind sharing it, we got a whole nother over an hour with you guys. And also thank you guys for hitting us up on PayPal. Really appreciate it. It means the world to us.
Absolutely. I need to say thank you to Denise. She says, a new post. This is beyond coincidence. 3 weeks running. You start a show and our favorite anon drops. I mean, it's a cool idea, but I certainly I can't claim any knowledge of what's going on. Alexander Shocked says, will Methods ever show his face currently in Oz mode? I'm going to say probably not, but Methods, I mean, I'll allow you to answer that question.
Oh, I appreciate you allowing me, but no, I'm just playing. No, I don't plan on it because I like my private life. I like being able to, like I say before, unplug and do my own thing in the real world, you know, like be able to, and I say real as an offline. So no, I don't plan on it now, but then again, ask me in 5 years, we'll see. But for now, I definitely don't plan on it.
All right. Punisher says, Sump RP and M3. What's up, Punisher? Good to see you, buddy. Gerald Jean says, keep it up. Son of a Green Card says, just a question. Would Kislyak have called in the incoming DNI or the outgoing DNI first? Well, I mean, he would have already been, probably already had spoken with the outgoing DNI. And since they were the current DNI, I'm sure that, you know, just by virtue of that fact, there already would have been conversations. But I think that I don't know what the protocol is for speaking to the incoming DNI. Or the incoming NSA, whoever it would be. But I would imagine that once that's been announced and once you've begun the transition team, then there's got to be some level of engagement that goes on with that. Blue Lady 22 says, won't let me comment, but you're fantastic. Blue Lady 22, thank you very much. Slow mode is on, so you can only chat once every 120 seconds. Jamaica May says, you are amazing. Thank you, Jamaica May. Gaffer Anon, #MuteGate. Miracle Girly says, I'll say it for Methods. Everyone hit the like button. Bruce Wayne says, can you show the RP78 enamel pin design to the audience? I don't have my email open, and I haven't even seen it myself. So I'll find it, and we'll talk about it this week. Tony St. Aubin, that just a cute little animal. I don't know what that is. In the gate. Got me. Friendly reminder to trust the plan and think for yourself. Yes, definitely. You got to use discernment. And yeah, I mean, there are such a variety of opinions and such a variety of different ways you can interpret information. No one has a monopoly on information. And just because somebody tells you that they're right, it doesn't make it true. So, you know, gonna have to decide for yourself on that stuff.
Well, on that whole point, because once again, you can't make everybody happy, even if we were to try to.
Yeah.
You know, you cover things a certain way, you do your shows a certain way. There's going to be somebody who thinks you should have done it differently, and they might want to say something about it, and that's fine. Do your thing. We choose our own path in all this. This is a new era of internet, social media, and covering this kind of news based on, at least since our favorite Anon showed up and since all these channels have popped up since Trump got elected. So me and Red Pill get messages, you know, why do you guys always just do the positive notes, like cover things in that way? Why do you guys have to be quote unquote comfy and all that? Why don't you bring on other people with differences of opinion? We're all, first off, on that last note, we're all about that. I have no problem having those conversations. But me and Red Pill had a conversation before all this started in between me and him doing these shows that we wanted to go this direction. The movement needed this. And we needed to put out that feeling that we have when it comes to all this stuff, we believe things are going to get better. We believe justice is going to happen. We believe in a better tomorrow. And a lot of that comes from watching this movement and the passion that's involved in it, the great patriots, the caring for each other. To us, we can see that horizon happening. So we wanted to have that part. We wanted to play that role as far as making sure people had something like that to cover these things. Now, is it going to happen another way? Are y'all ever going to hear Methods or Red Pill Feisty? Probably. It'll happen, if you continue on this journey with us as it stands. But for now, this is what we want to contribute to the movement. And if it happens to be more of a positive tone, okay, fine. You'll find it in other places, and more power to those places.
And even to put a finer point on it, the way that I present information on the show is the same way that I interpret and present information in my daily life. Just because I'm on the air, I'm not playing a part. I mean, the reason I want to portray this information this way is because this is how I am. This is who I am. I'm not a Debbie Downer in real life. I'm not sitting around saying things aren't happening fast enough. When are we going to get justice? And, it's not good enough. I want to see it now. I'm not playing Veruca Salt. This is me, okay? I truly believe that things have been getting incrementally better. I truly believe that all of these things are happening behind the scenes. I truly believe that justice is coming, and as long as we're patient enough to allow it to happen on the timeline that the people with the actual ability to make things happen, as long as we can wait for them, then we're going to be alive long enough to see it. It's going to happen. Everything is going to be okay. In the end, this is going to take place, and then we're going to be here to witness it. Now, we can either spend our days leading up to that whining and angry and, dissatisfied with the way things are working out, or we can look at the world, we can say, up until 2016, when President Trump was elected, we were living under essentially, a socialist system. That's what we were moving towards. We were moving towards a full totalitarian rule. And then President Trump came into office, and we started to chip away at that slowly. And I see the good things taking place, and I know that if President Trump hadn't been elected, we would not be in this position today. Things would be worse. So I'm lucky to be here, and you guys are lucky to be here too, and we're lucky to be in it together. I don't want to get stuck in the muck and the mire and be angry about what might be or what actually is definitely going to take place just because it hasn't happened yet. I've waited my entire life to get to this moment. This is but a fly in the ointment, just a tiny little speck, okay? Everybody else that came before us, think of all the people who never got to live in this time. They've got a reason to be angry, okay? But we are here, and we're going to see this all the way through. And I think that there is power in that collective unconscious that we all put forward. We put forth, just happiness and joy, and we can, radiate that outward. The people around us are going to be happy. They're going to see what's taking place. They're going to hear about it from us. They're going to get more hopeful, okay? And I think that we can have a collective influence upon the entire world that way. Have you ever been in a room where one person has just the worst possible attitude and it starts wearing off on everybody else in the room, okay, until you get to finally the last guy who's trying to make everybody else feel better, and then it's over. Everybody is in a foul mood. I don't want to stay in that room. I don't want to hang out with those people. I want to hang out with other people who are going to be able to look at this objectively and know that we are truly moving towards something great here. Okay, so for me, this is what I want to put out. It's positivity, it's radiant, it's it's happiness, because I've lived a terrible life up until this point. President Trump came into office and everything changed for me. Everything changed for all of us. So I'm going to keep moving towards that point, that single point of light in the distance where it opens up at the end of the tunnel and the deep state is no more. That's me.
All right. No, and I absolutely love and appreciate your opinion and where you come about things, and that's fine. And I'm looking at a comment in here by someone, and I won't name them to call them out, but they said echo chambers are not effective. I want to give my 2 cents on that real quick, Red
Go
Pill.
ahead.
So anything you planned, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I totally agree. I agree that echo chambers are a problem. It happens. Sometimes I see it even in this movement when it comes to something that gets dropped and it's a theory and then it becomes fact somehow through telephone game and gets shared around and stuff. So I can totally agree that echo chambers are not effective. But in turn, I also think that having different points of views and different ways of going about things creates like this like buffet of stuff to where you can go around and check different opinions. And that's why like we do this stuff on this channel. We have these conversations. We might have a more of a positive spin on it because we'd like to live lives happy. We want to live every day and enjoy it. So that's where, and we wanted to share that with everybody and have those conversations. Now I might be dropping a grenade in the middle of this chat by saying this. So Red Pill, don't hate me.
Okay.
But a great example of that kind of thing of, okay, we stay positive and all that, is this fighting in between Trump and Jeff Sessions.
Yeah.
And I'm not at all trying to cause a fight in the chat. You guys definitely give your opinion. Love you for it. But here's my 2 cents on it to a degree. I know I'd say stay out of it, but I'll just say how I feel about it. Okay, we have Trump and Sessions going at each other, or more Trump going after Sessions and all that. Well, our favorite anon said trust Sessions. That's fine. Okay, we always try to say if we're going to hold our favorite anon to truth, if we're going to say what he's saying is true, even though the disinformation is necessary, whatever, is a role in that, that's fine. Here's my opinion on that. Let's just say that if our favorite anon is legit about that, trust Sessions, then there's more that went happen behind the scenes that's going to come out to where Trump can then come back around and say, oh, okay, now I understand it because I got to see the information. How many times has he said he wants to stay out of stuff? I'm not trying to be in the middle of it, but that's Trump's point of view. You have to think about the optics of that. So what if it comes out even more so that Sessions played a major role? You have to also remember under Sessions, we had, all those people forced out that our favorite anon talks about that was working in the FBI, DOJ, and all that stuff. That happened. Epstein happened during his watch as far as the investigation that happened.
Yep.
So you have to accept all of that. Now imagine if this was a sting and getting them to do all these things and crimes and stuff for it to then be better explained in the future that Mueller's investigation was targeting Trump and targeting these people and withholding this information. The Sessions did the right thing, in my opinion. But in turn, also, you have to think about how quickly anytime Barr does anything, even makes a comment, they call Barr, Trump's puppet. That immediately happens. So what if all this truth is going to come out during the Mueller investigation stuff and Sessions, all this stuff? They need to keep them optically, Trump and Sessions, away from each other. They need it to look like it was so unbiased because this is about the future of America. This is about the future of things happening to where history tells it this way because that's what happened. The president was happy. And in turn, it's optically great for the president to say he's not happy with what was going on during that time. So I'm okay with that. So to me, I'm like 70-30 believing that this is kind of an act to also get the media to come to Sessions, support and do all that because Sessions is going to be the hero of a lot of this stuff. But in turn, if it's not, then okay, I'm okay with that too. So that's how I stand about it. And that's fine, but I'm not going to die on any mountain one way or the other and get in arguments and debates and use whatever clout I can to make a point in an argument that we don't have all the information.
Yeah. I mean, to a degree, people just so vocally and angrily going after one side or the other, it doesn't make any sense to me, because we don't have the information. Like, I'm perfectly fine, like, having a conversation about it, but do not, pin your entire fortune on whether or not Jeff Sessions is a good guy or a bad guy. I agree with you on it, Methods. I mean, this is all about optics, and I'm surprised that there are more people who don't see it with how much President Trump has done it up until this point. Let me just get these super chats out of the way because we got Jim Watkins going to be joining us here in just a second. Tire Queen says, I always questioned why I felt so cozy. I follow methods and Comfy Sunday is real. Thanks, guys. Snake Doc 067, thank you for that. Miracle Girly says, PSA, I've worked with diagnostic equipment. All of them have false positives. A false positive means you don't have it, but the test says you do. CV19 tests have a high or unknown false positive rate. Don't trust the count. Zoso Dude 77, I just picture methods as junior samples from Hee Haw. Use that Southern boy as the image in your head when he talks. That's brilliant.
Hey, choose your own adventure on what you think I look like, guys. Yeah. It's fun.
Right on Cue says, thank you. The Punisher says, methods, your thoughts on CV19 as a final attempt to usher in an NWO agenda. I think that's a show in and of itself. Sheila Garrett.
I'll give 15 seconds. I think that was the plan all along to help make things happen publicly and make them agree with it without necessarily doing the martial law thing.
All right. Sheila Garrett says RP and M3, iPod, Bards, and a few others are my favorite, and I listen to Dan Bongino. Faux News was the last refuge on the MSM, but no more. It's sad, really. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, Sheila. Redeemed Patriot says, do you think there's a possibility of Quarantine 2 around October, November, December? I don't think so. I don't think this is ever going to happen ever again, guys, to be perfectly honest. But again, it doesn't mean that Methods and I aren't going to, continue to do shows. All right, well, we've got Jim Watkins joining the call, you guys, so feel free to drop your questions for Jim if you got anything that you specifically want us to talk about. Jim is just getting on the line, getting his camera and his mic on. Jim, what's up, my friend? How are you? I don't think we have audio yet. No audio. Nope, no audio.
No, I'm here.
There we go.
I was just being bad.
There he is. What's up, Jim?
Excuse me.
You're fine.
Did you ever see a movie called What's Up, Tiger Lily?
A long time ago. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Well, Jim, first, let me say thank you very much for coming on the program. We appreciate you joining us this Memorial Day weekend. How's your weekend going?
Oh, wow, it's weekend. I'm working like 7 days a week, so right. I didn't realize really it was weekend. And I forgot I was going to be on this show until yesterday afternoon when my phone calendar went off and said, oh, Redfield 78. Okay, I remember.
Good stuff.
Here I am now.
Well, I'm glad you set the reminder so that you could be here with us. That's a big deal.
I'm so glad. And you know what? I would have remembered automatically because I was listening to your show all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually doing something else and listening. I'm not like watching. I mean, it's like, you got a face for radio, dude. but the thing about it is I stopped getting announcements that you were going on.
Yeah.
And I'm busy, and I didn't realize they had stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Oh, there's something's missing in my life. What is missing?" You were missing.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to you a lot, and it stopped coming. And then I looked and said, "Oh, I'm not subscribed."
I
said, "Well, how did that happen?" I said, "I didn't unsubscribe from you." I mean, it's like, please, I'm angry at him. I'm gonna unsubscribe. No, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying.
You became unsubscribed for some glitch in the system, I guess.
I think
nobody puts Red Pill in the corner. I'm not cool with it. I'm not happy with it. YouTube, get your act together.
The thing is that there was a noticeable drop off that started last week on Monday, just out of nowhere. I lost a bunch of subscribers and my views went down by like 30%. So I'm sure that they did this to a lot of people. It was like almost like it was building, and then all of a sudden last Monday, like my views just dropped off, and then it's been, slowly coming back over the course of the, this past week, where I think people are realizing that they got unsubscribed or the notification bell was turned off. So yeah, it's a little frustrating, but I mean, I know that I've got a very dedicated group of patriots that are looking for the shows to come in. But to your point, I completely understand. I'm always, if I have the time to listen to other people's channels, I have to put it on as I'm doing other things. You know, I mean, I got to be productive at all times. I mean, I got the house, I've got the show, I've got the dogs, I've got my daughter. So it's just, you know, a part of it that I have to be doing multiple things at the same time. So, you know, if somebody's notifications just stop for me, then, you know, they're still sending somebody else's notifications. So you got to go look for it, unfortunately.
Sure, it's like, oh, maybe he's not doing a show anymore. I don't know. I can't find you. It's like, you gotta start your show with an A if you want to be found in the subscribers. You know, because you end up subscribing to a few hundred people. You know.
Right. Well, so Jim,
it's not an algorithm doing that to you though. That's manually hard. That's a manual hard cap, and you'll probably find that the people that have been removed from your channel are hand-selected COI, centers of influences. That are hand removed from your subscribers, so that and the influencers are busy people. They're like you got your house and your dogs and your cat and your kid, not in that order, hopefully,
right?
but the influencers removed from your channel will drop you 30%. Now my channel's down 90% from where I was last October, and so I upped my game and I started, well, you know what, maybe I should write down what I'm going to talk about first instead of just being, because it was like zany, and people like the zany, and YouTube likes zany if you just go in there and be zany and don't say anything of importance. And then I said, well, he's saying things that are important and the users fall off. So then I go zany and I get a few. And then I go, they just want clowns. They don't want any actual like qualitative content unless it's home repair and how to survive and how to fix broken things. They like this because they're preparing you for the dystopian post-apocalyptic future that they're trying to push on you.
Absolutely. You know, so that stuff and makeup tutorials, you know, I mean, just the most inane things are what they want on the platform.
So I started a new channel on my channel for men's personal hygiene. I'm going to teach them how to brush their teeth. And I cut my nails last week.
Oh, that's great. Well, Jim, just in case anybody here is not already subscribed to you, tell us what your channel is and the best way for them to find you. YouTube.com/hare63. That's hare as in a rabbit, Hare. Okay.
Because I was born in 63, so like your red pill 78, I'm just guessing that you don't take 78 red pills.
Right. That's true. And then the name of the channel is Watkins Xerxes. You've also got Twitter. You've got, of course, the website. You've got multiple websites. When I tuned in earlier today, I saw you were talking about some of the new features that you've got on there for people to get easy access to stuff on 8kun.
Yeah, this is something you can do. You can take a thread on 8kun or your video on YouTube, and if you want to get it in front of someone's eyeballs right away, instead of just like, oh, I can pay someone to do SEO, what have you. No, you can just go and list it on my top list, and then put the link on the page that you're going to put there, and then people will go there, and then if they go there and they click on the link, then you'll get new people to come back and see your stuff.
Very cool.
It works well, and I've already got like over 100 sites using it, and it resets every day at like 12:17 Greenwich Mean Time, so that everyone gets a chance to get to the top, you know.
Good stuff. So let's say I went there, and because I tested it out, I put the link to today's stream in there a couple hours before we started. I would imagine there's probably a lot of people.
You get an email. You have to confirm the email if you're not showing up.
That was the thing. I didn't do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
so let me see what your link is. I'll go there and look out in my secret behind the scenes dashboard. See if I can find you. Is it let's see, maybe.
Yeah, redpill78@protonmail.com was my email. I just confirmed. I just went to the
Comfy Sunday. There you are. With I see the link. It's in there. You just have to confirm it. With the email, and it'll show up there within just a few minutes.
All right.
You'll get.
Well, while you guys are working,
they gave you a unique link. Put that in the description of your YouTube video.
Definitely.
Well, and while you're doing that, Red Pill, I'm dropping his link to his YouTube channel in the chat for everybody.
Perfect.
Oh, thank you guys. You're
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Go over there and subscribe. It's never a dull moment. Never a dull moment on one of your videos, Jim. I'm not gonna lie. I never know what I'm getting myself into, and it's always a great conversation. Because I've had people send me a GIF of you doing the unicorn dance, and and it's been turned into a GIF. So it's a thing now. Yeah. No way. It's on the internet. People are gonna use it. But it's definitely entertaining, and I like watching stuff that I don't know what's going to come, because a lot of channels that we do watch are covering a lot of the same news, whether we're covering it here on this channel or on Twitter and stuff like that, and we like to hear their opinions, but we know that it's already been breaking. When you're doing videos, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, I'm just having fun, and I was trying to break their algorithm by doing that.
Right.
And I did for a while. But then they go in there and they hard code it and say no.
Right. Yeah.
So now my show is more of a proof of life type thing. Saying you can get there. You can't get there from. It's like I had a lady on there last week, and she copied the whole interview and put it on her own YouTube channel, which only has like 2,000 subscribers, and she's got like tons of people watching the same video, and mine has got like 400.
Funny how that works, right, Jim?
Yeah, so I guess that, and I figured out how they do it, and it's a shame, but why they do it is more of a shame. It's who's paying them. They're being paid by people other than the Americans. The Americans are paying them too, of course, but they're getting more money, and they have to go after where the money is, because they're not a don't be evil company anymore.
No, I totally get that, Jim. And real quick, I know, Red Pill, you're about to go through the super chats, and that's fine. I want to get to what somebody from the chat wanted us to ask for sure, because it kind of ties into what Jim's talking about.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so go ahead, Red Pill.
Oh, well, I mean, clearly censorship is something that, you've been dealing with and fighting against for a while. I mean, how are things right now with the stability of the board? I mean, it seems like, every now and then it seems to happen again. But you've had some pretty sophisticated attacks taking place.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no, the audience wants to know about it. They want to know if you can tell us anything about these attacks. I mean, if you have any idea about, where they're coming from, or if it's a state-sponsored attack, or is it just a bunch of people who are angry with, with you and with the people that are in this movement?
I don't think it's a bunch of people. I think it's a select few number of people.
Okay.
And they control a bunch of bots. You'd call it a bots, where they have like taken over a portion of your PC, and they it's brought us down a few times the last couple of months, but never for more than about an hour. So we still have like over a 99.6% uptime. And ever since we moved over to Van Wanet, now we had some problems configuring things for Van Wanet, because it's more detailed and in depth to be having protection through him. But once you get it all set up, it works well. It works to the point where we've maxed out his data center capabilities. The last month we increased the we lost some of the undesirable elements on 8kun that we didn't. We had to cut ships because this is not legal content. You got to go find some other home somewhere else with somebody that's not going to arrest you for that. How does that work? I don't know. But they left, and when they left, we still increased by 5 times last month.
Wow.
We're 5 times larger than we were the month before, and then we capped out the month before. We capped out the network at Van Wanet.
Oh wow,
that's incredible.
So then now he's increased his network, and we've gone up again.
Wow. You're going to use all the capacity. Now, when you're talking about the size, is it the entire website as a whole, or is it just general growth, or is it specifically pointing at, like, say, Q Research or something like that?
Well, that's the biggest board, Q Research.
Yeah,
it really is. They're busy beavers. They're out there pushing, and then when they strike gold, or they bake a loaf. I was gonna say pinch a loaf. when they bake a loaf, all of a sudden it increases tremendously. And these are the folks that are run by that Brock character.
Yes, Media Man.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they come in there and then they start antagonizing everybody and trying to divide the whole movement up. This is paid for by a billionaire.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it. You know how a couple years ago we had this Pizzagate controversy, and they were talking about do you know this Brock character is lovers with the owner of the Comet Pizza.
Yeah.
They're lovers, or the former lovers. I don't know if they're still lovers or not, but they're boyfriends. So the it makes me wonder. There's just too many coincidences behind that. And then they got like George Soros money getting thrown in there, and he's the guy that established this Media Matters. Now, if you look at Media Matters, it's like, oh, this is like watching like Starship Troopers propaganda for the left. You remember the commercials yeah.
That's my favorite part of the movie. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I know, but it's like left-handed or left-wing zealot type stuff. That's not the big deal behind them. That's just a cover. It's like that's like their joke face. Their real face. It's just me. Okay, here we are.
I had to let
Welcome
the dogs.
to the Jim Show.
I had to let the dogs in. So
hey, but Jim, real quick to your point on that, I spend personally a lot of time on the boards when it was HN to 8kun and all that, and I know who you're talking about. When you spend enough time on the boards, you can really see who are the shills who are paid to just be there to just say stupid stuff and sow discord and all that stuff. So, to me, I'm really surprised that they keep trying, but when there's a paycheck behind it, that makes sense as well.
Yeah, well, they're getting paid for it, and the guy that's paying them probably doesn't even know what the details are behind that whole thing. He's busy doing other stuff. He's like, oh, I didn't get my notification for Red Pill.
Right.
He's probably one of your watchers.
No, but I mean, to that point, Jim, like to be at the Spear when it comes, because we get a lot of our information from there, because all the anons are digging, and then we take it to things like Twitter and we take it to things like YouTube and all that. To be at the tip of the spear and to see all this happening, like, I want to ask you personally, what happened what was going on through your mind when someone named Q showed up and used your platform and to have it grow over time? What was your thought process through all that?
When it first happened, I didn't even really know what was going on. I'm not Q, and I don't know who Q is.
Oh, you get accused all the time. You get accused all the time for things.
I wore a Q pin, but and I've become one of the Q-tards. I'm
using that term affectionately.
Yeah, of course. But I didn't know because it's a hidden board, and I'm not watching every board. There at that time there was like 20,000 boards, and I'm working on other things. I've got other projects going on that I'm working on, and then it got big, and then all of a sudden, come August of last year, I got like these shootings happening, and we're getting blamed for that. And it's like this Ohio shooting thing that happened in Dayton, and it's so sad. But I heard that this guy was actually like nothing to do with us.
No, nothing. Leftist.
Right. And then the guy in Texas, and then the reason I was invited was, for going over these shootings and stuff. And it's like, I have nothing to do with it.
Right.
Then we kept our website off for about 2 months to make it more secure, to see if we could even do a little help, because I promised them we'd do something, do our best. And then it took about a month after that to get it back up, because we kept getting like shut down everywhere we go. I found out the people doing this are the people that own Network Solutions, the web.com people.
Really?
They're owned by UK people. The United Kingdom is pushing their politics in the United States.
Wow.
There's your red pill.
There you go.
I mean, the real deal is like, that's the real deal. They have a monopoly on the top level domain name systems in the United States of America. President Obama had gave that up, and then they grabbed it. So the UK controls the American internet.
Absolutely.
That's why we use 8kun.top now. I have the other domain names, and the George guy has a couple of them too, and he said he'd give them to me if I wanted them. So, but if I put them on, they're just going to turn them off. And so it's quite useless. That's why you have to use like a foreign country's top level domain name.
What is .top for? What country?
I don't know. It's a Topanga Canyon, Topeka, Kansas.
That's the first thing I thought. Well, let me just do a couple of thank yous from the audience. Casey Anon says, my membership status was turned on and off about 20 times last Monday. I got notified each time. This is an interesting thing, Jim. First, I was recording my daily video, and I started getting flooded with emails from people who had been members of the channel. And I went and looked, and it said that my monetization had been shut off. But I went into my account, and I was able to turn it back on. And within 5 minutes, every time that I would turn it back on, somebody behind the scenes would go and shut it off. And it happened while we were live on the air multiple times. And I was able to get past it, but it was a kind of a scary situation. Star Karma says, thanks for the shout out to the Canadian Patriots. That's right. Big ups to our friends up north. Leafy. White Hat says, hello, Patriots. Much love. What's up, White Hat? FTW.
Hey, real quick. I saw it in the chat. And I told you, White Hat, it was going to happen. White Hat is not Q. All right. I saw that happen. I saw that happen multiple times in the chat earlier. White Hat, I told you it was coming.
Yeah. FTW Champs, big friend of the channel, says Jim is an American hero. Long live 8kun. Absolutely. Larry Giordano, friends of mine worked for Dan Bongino at the White House as agents. I'm glad to have had the pleasure to meet him and would believe anything he says. Thank you guys for what you do. Thank you very much for saying that, Larry. I definitely trust Dan. I love listening to Dan. Exit the Matrix says, we have started to make short videos on crazy topics on our new channel and sprinkle little red pills and staying off the tube radar. Thanks for being an inspiration, Red Pill 78. Exit the Matrix, I will check that out. I like the idea of that. Christy Shea, Nani Coffee Burkett, just a hard thank you, Christy. Gloria Paddock says, thank you, RPM3 and Jim Watkins, for all you do. And Eric Anderson says, fried chicken and waffles, NASCAR, RP78, M3, my comfy Sunday. I could totally go for some fried chicken.
hat on.
Yeah, I could go for some fried chicken and waffles right now. That's awesome. Well, so Jim, when you're looking at the future, with everything that's happened, with the constant attacks, are you doing anything additional that could shore up the security that you've got there? Is there any way to stop this from happening, or is it just a way of life?
The attacks aren't going to stop. They aren't going to stop unless the people move off to another platform. and then they'll just follow them there, and whether they can stay up, I don't know. We had one of our biggest attacks in a long time just a couple days ago. The days are kind of going in together here, but
Right.
I announced it when it happened, and it's like an expensive attack. It was like thousands and thousands of dollars worth of an attack, obviously, and we didn't crash. We just slowed down a little bit. So
Awesome.
So we're improving as we go, and I'm doing that with Nick from Van Wanet. He's doing a good job. He's doing things differently. He's like Steve Jobs, thinking differently. You know, I miss Steve Jobs. I think that he's a great American that left before his time, and his company went just kaput after that.
Yeah, I would say things have changed for the worse, most definitely.
To that point about Van Wanet, I mean, unsung hero. I know that we talk about it the best we can, and when it was announced that they were going to help keep you guys afloat as far as being on the internet, like, definitely shout out to him. And also, I will say this, I'll say this on behalf of the entire chat because I know I can get away with it, and for Red Pill, shout out to Ron, because Ron is definitely somebody who stays on top of things. He's been really nice to both me and Red Pill when we've talked to him.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So we just want to say, hey, Ron's great. Absolutely love Ron. He works hard. He believes in the free speech and the free of course you do. I would hope you do. But with that said, Ron, definitely, we can't say enough great things about him, because anytime we brought things to his attention, or if even other anons bring things to his attention, he's on it. He works hard, and he's told us no matter what, he will always fight for the free speech to be available. So Ron's definitely awesome, and I just wanted to say that for everybody.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Thanks. Yeah, you know, and he's his own man. You know, he's like just a little younger than you, Red Pill. I mean, he's a grown up, so he makes his own decisions, and he's not getting paid for the work he does on 8kun. That's all volunteer.
Oh, wow.
Right. And a lot of people don't know that or consider that, because anytime these attacks happen and the boards don't work out as well, everybody rushes to Ron and say, get it fixed, or the shills attack him. Say, Code Monkey, your boards aren't working, blah, blah. And he actively makes a point to do that. And we wouldn't have what this movement would be as far as Q or anything else, or just the research shared in general, and the free speech on one of the last, if not really the last, platform that we can do this, that we can trust, wouldn't be if Ron didn't step up. There would be way more downtime. There would be way more people not using it because they couldn't depend on it. And the fact that he does it without any commission whatsoever, hat tip to him. I hope history remembers him well, and I will make sure that it happens, at least on our end.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's a good guy. I would love him even if he wasn't my son.
Right.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a good one.
Well, we had our favorite Anon Q post several times since we pulled you in, Jim, and they're asking.
I have got my browser closed. Let me look.
Yeah, so the last one we read was 4318, about taking power back by the people. Now 4319, we've got a tweet, and then we've got a YouTube video. And the tweet claims that on a weekend that should be spent remembering the dead, someone named Caddy K says this headline is brutal. It's also accurate. On weekend dedicated to war dead, Trump tweets insults and promotes baseless claims. Now, our favorite Anon says nobody is buying what you're peddling, selling any longer. The MSDNC is dead. And then we also have a clip from Tucker Carlson. And the title of that is, Michelle Obama was recording a message ordering people to stay home. Barack Obama was golfing. So obviously pointing out the hypocrisy and the wonderful thing about this movement is, with so many people realizing that we've just been lied to, we've just been controlled all these years, and now they're no longer eating it up, they can look at something like this and it no longer has an effect. And we've somebody mentioned earlier that echo chambers aren't effective, but I would say that the media, the public arm of the Democratic Party was extremely effective by the echo chamber that they created over the last several decades. And now it's not effective because we've had so many people waking up. And then post 4320, we've got a link back to 4316 about fear not after the election. It's all going to be over. And then we've got a link to a Merriam-Webster dictionary entry for sarcasm. I'm pretty sure everybody here knows what sarcasm is. Reread drops regarding CV-19 and the election. Last line should clarify. Is this about the virus or the election? Obviously, we know it's about the election. And post 4321, we've got an anon drop says, I'm sorry you had to explain it. The board is not what it was. And he says, popularity growth drives general non-autistic expansion. The hive mind is alive and well.
That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, Jim, are you posting as Q on the side and we're not
I didn't even have my browser open. My hand was on my coffee cup.
Right, no. No, a lot of people like to make that accusation. They've accused me of it because I've been tagged a bunch by Q, stuff like that. I'm just, it is what it is. But with that said, that is a point because we were talking about the growth of the board itself and seeing things happen. So you're seeing a steady curve of more and more people getting on, Coon?
Yeah, and you got to realize it's not just posters.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at the posts. It's how many people are viewing what they've written.
Lurking.
The lurkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lurkers are the majority.
Right. Can you give us an idea of like if you could put it into a percentage, or like how many are lurking as compared to posting? Have you ever worked on that?
1% post.
1% post.
Wow.
So to anybody because I see Shills pointed out, or anybody that's worried, especially on the Q research board, that all the real anons are gone and there's just a few posting. How many are really here? You're saying that 99% of who's on the website
99% are just reading.
Wow. Yeah, no, definitely. Everybody in the chat, remember that, because you're going to hear it from somebody that the board is not getting its traction as much anymore and all that stuff. Yeah, that's awesome. That's definitely awesome, Jim.
Can you give us a number on average daily users? Any idea? Or if you don't want to, that's okay.
I actually would have to disconnect this call to log into the server to see that number.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
That's fine.
It's a whole bunch.
I imagine.
Let's see. The month there was like almost back up to 1 million a day the last time I checked.
Wow. Jeez. And you say that the Q research board is the most hit by far.
Yeah, and that's the site-wide. It wasn't the not the whole one board.
Right, but you say that the board is definitely the one that gets viewed the most, and you're hitting.
It's getting 10 times the posts of the top public board.
Wow, that's incredible, and that's what I would want it to be and hope it would be. So that's incredible, Jim.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm amazed.
It's my hope that even though people can get frustrated, thinking that there's too many normies. The idea is for this to be a successful business venture for you. I mean, it is a place for people to communicate about very specific things. So to have more and more people there, each filling their own unique niche, that's good for the economy, and that's good for you, and it's good for us as well, because we need more people to be on board with what's taking place.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at my important thing there for a second. I'll turn that off.
No, you're fine, Jim. No worries, man.
All right. And then in the last post, 4322, another anon post. Damn right, Q. We're on course on glide path. Anons are on it. And then they say ILS approach looks good. So we're on.
What that is, don't you?
That's like an airplane reference, isn't it?
Yeah. When you're coming in for a landing, they have lights.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be right in the right place, and you can look at those lights to make sure you're going to hit the runway. And if it's green or if it's red, now if you have a red light and a green light, then you're a little low. But if you have if you're too high, then you won't have that. But if it shows up red, you're dead.
Oh wow.
Red is like you're going to go right into the ground.
And so that would also tie into
that's the glide path. He's on the glide path. He's not going to be dead, whoever that is.
Well, you know, I don't know how much you actually read all the posts by our favorite Anon. Like, really, do you keep up with them when they come out?
I'm watching on one of these off-site things, and then I click in to go straight to the thread because it's easier that way.
It's the conversation that's happening around it. That's also that's why I love being there too. I don't post a whole lot. I do when I feel like it's relevant.
I never post there. I'm not putting my opinion.
So you're
either as me or anonymously.
You're a serial lurker. You're just always
just lurking because I don't feel it's right or appropriate, and then
then
I'll end up saying, what if Congress said they might invite me back?
Right.
If I go back and I say, well, yeah, I was posting, they said, no, I want to be able to say, no, I don't post there.
Right. You just allow the free speech to happen.
Yeah.
And I think during that time, for people that may be new to this story or don't necessarily remember, during that time, you made such a great point about, and I don't want to butcher the words at all, but you were referring to how 8chan at the time was the pen, you know, for the paper that is the chan for us to write freely, and it on goes. Like, we can write freely, we speak our mind, we're not having Twitter or YouTube or Facebook or whatever controlling the free speech. You wanted to make sure that everybody knew that what you're trying to do with this website was to have free speech, allow these things to happen the best they can. And that's where I first really got to learn about you, because I had gotten into 8chan when Q showed up. I had known a little bit about 8chan and 4chan, but that was more my friend's thing. But I really got a chance to understand you, Jim, because of how you were handling that situation. I was like, this guy's awesome, because he just wants free speech to happen regardless of what it is, because that's how it should have been always on the internet, right?
Well, then there's a reason for that too. If you start like blocking people, and they use these laws, they'll come up with some buzzword like hate speech.
Mm-hmm.
You can't define hate speech. It's like, whenever you do, I mean, you end up like, they just use these laws like in Europe to silence minorities. Not maybe skin minority, but minority opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, minority like a voice in something of a topic in general.
Yeah, and so like I got they're not so much there anymore. I think they went back to 4chan, the Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
But the Nazis were on there, and they were like at their own little group. It's like, that's the most protected speech in America.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm not a Nazi. I mean, I'm not for that at all. You know, it's like, no. This is not something that I would have anything to do with. But they're there, but they've gone to other platforms. I think they went to maybe Discord or Telegram or something like that. And
they love Gab.
4chan.
Yeah,
they love using Gab.
And, you know, and I
like Gab too. I can't log in from here though. It's blocked.
It's gotten a lot better on Gab. You know, when it first started out, there was just a really heavy presence there. I think that when you had those several months of downtime, that was good, so that people who, you know, maybe were, speaking a little bit freer along subjects like that, they went and found themselves a new home, so that when you open back up again, you did a house cleaning, you know. So, and if anybody wants to come back and, you know, start groups up again, start a new page, then they can go ahead and do that. But they're already situated someplace else.
Right, and I'm not shooting.
I didn't get you bringing the subject up. I hope it.
No, well, it's okay. Don't worry.
No, you're fine. And I'm not trying to dog Gab by any means. Use the platform. I mean, we've ransacked Twitter when it comes to controlling the thing. It is what it is. But I've noticed a lot of it happening on that platform, because they do try to allow things to to just be free and open.
They do, and then you'll have the bad guys, those people that you see when you've got your bun that's turning into a loaf there on
right.
Coon. The bad guys will come in.
Mm-hmm.
The bad guys are going into Gab too, and then they'll just fill it full of stuff that's illegal, so that they're having to like go there and remove it. They're paid to do that. They're paid by rich people to do that. Rich people that have a stake in Gab not being success.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, how else would they silence platforms where people are having conversation and debate? You put things out there
You
that
post illegal content on them, and
right.
then they either remove it or they have a discussion on, is this illegal? So no, you can't have that discussion. You got to remove it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
You
that
know, as soon
I've
as
been
it's reported to you.
right. And I've been on your boards on HN Acon when they're trying to do that. It's like an onslaught, and you could just tell that obviously it's like, how can you be this fueled with being that evil, dropping this stuff unless there's a paycheck behind it? It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, what I will say to the resolve of the people that stay dedicated to the boards, whether they're research or whatever the board's covering or what they're into, they stay adamant about it and they fight through it. Like, you're always going to have people that need and respect what you're offering as a platform in general, because a lot of people that migrate over to things like Twitter and stuff to help with, let's say, a research cause or a fight or support the president, they don't even like putting a name out there, or they won't even upload an image because they like being anonymous, but they go over there.
Methods here.
Yeah. Even me.
Anon for life.
Right. So yeah, that to me, there will always be a need for what you do. And once again, I'll speak for the chat and Red Pill as well. Thank you for fighting so much for free speech on the internet, just in general. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. We'll continue to do it. So I've been doing this for like over 20 years now. So we'll continue doing it. It's what I've been doing for a long time.
It's a beautiful thing, Jim.
Life. Yeah.
Let me do a couple of thank yous for the audience. Gloria Paddock said, hello, White Hat. Phil B. Me Too. We had 5 new drops. Thank you very much. And then she said, 4332 ILS approach looks good. Alexandria, occasional Cortex. My 3 favorite Q Patriots all at once. Thank you, guys. Salah says, thanks for your decodes. It's way beyond my Tony the Tiger decoder ring. You and M3 are the best. Thank you very much. Red Pills Warhawk says, question in the chat. How much does an attack on the boards cost these clowns? So, and how would you even measure something like that, Jim? I mean, is it just Go ahead.
That was just the time lag. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, just how much do you think one of these sophisticated attacks cost, and how would you measure something like that?
Well, we can see the attack come in on the firewall and just take like a micro screenshot of what's happened, and then you just look and see how much that is. So if you have like 50 IPs coming in and attacking you at one time, or if it's 5,000 or 500,000, it's like there's a computer or a light bulb or a smart refrigerator behind every one of those IPs. You know, and somebody has written a script to control them, and someone has written a software or a malware to install to control them, or someone at some company has released the back door to somebody to control them, or some country has given out the back door to their processor to control them. I mean, there's somebody has opened the door for that. And if it's just like the kids doing, it's like you got your red box or your blue box, and you're freaking the telephone line,
right?
You're whistling to make an international long distance call. You know, it's more sophisticated than that. That's not going to crash us anymore. Now it's something much higher than that. And how much does that cost? Is it somebody like did somebody that doesn't like the post that's talking about the fact that they may have committed sedition and espionage against the United States of America, doesn't like that post, and maybe they say, okay, well, I'm going to pay some thousands of dollars because I've got millions, I've got gazillions. They're paying that money to somebody to do it, or is it somebody that has a purpose to do it? And then most of them need a money reason to be doing it. So it's mostly who paid, where's it coming from, things like that. You can't tell with the botnet, because if it's like a bunch of IPs from South Africa and New Zealand and what have you. Who knows? It's probably a botnet if it's coming from New Zealand, because I think they have us blocked.
No, they definitely do, because especially with what happened on what you're talking about, having to go to Congress and all that stuff. Yeah. We had a lot of people come to us and say, hey, I have to use a VPN now to be able to go, which I suggest anyways to a degree. Like, what do you feel about VPNs? Do you think everybody should be using one, or is there
Well, Code Monkey put up something on there, and I said, I agree with what he said there. It's like, you don't come here unprotected. You know, it's like,
right.
There's no prep for 8kun. You need to wear a virtual private network. Mm-hmm. It's important.
No, and I agree to that, because I'll be on the boards and I'll see somebody who actually fills in the information to where it'll post, instead of saying anonymous, it'll say their name,
their email, their
full blown. And anons are like ruthlessly trying to help people not do it, so they'll just like post back, here's your Facebook, quit posting and don't fill this stuff in. You know, I've actually seen that happen a bunch of times, because people are trying, they hear about this thing called 8kun and they want to come help where all the research is happening, because I spend all my time on Q research, and they're doing those things and they have no idea. You don't fill it out like Twitter, you don't fill it out like these other places.
And it's like my mother or your mother, you know, coming there. And it's older people now getting on there. It's like, I consider Martin Luther King in 1963 the beginning of the Generation X and end of the boomers. So I'm not a boomer. So, but,
you just made the cut.
My mother's a boomer, but they're coming there, and you know, maybe Fast Jack could put a little bit of a warning up there, or he could change that so it's just anonymous, or something. You know, that's something that the board owner can do. But I'm not touching anybody's board.
Yeah, you try to let the boards, because you're dealing with how many boards?
I think it's about 400 now.
Yeah, you have 400 boards. How many did you have on 8chan? Because I know not all
20,
of them.
20,000.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, you had a lot going on back then. But even
but there were a lot of different clubs and niche type things, and they found other homes, and it's like, I don't blame them.
Right, because you ultimately, even though you're anonymous, you kind of know, like you tell your friend, hey, I'm going to go on this board and hang out. You kind of
do they really need to be anonymous for the Stratego board?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So the Stratego board is probably moved off to some other place.
Right. But you have this board where you have international people that are patriots, and they want to help the cause when it comes to research and taking things apart. And they hop on, and they're like, they see the name field, and they either have it autofill on accident. I've seen that before, or that they at least use that excuse. And then they just fill it out, and they think that they're going to be anonymous because they hear it's that board. And I feel really bad, because you know, the anons are relentless and they're ruthless, making sure that person knows to never do that again.
Do you know that's happening to America outside now?
Right. Yeah.
This mask thing that we're wearing is turning you and you into an NPC.
That's such a great point.
Is, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a non-player character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I remember
that's what you're turning into with it. It's like no one's giving each other the greeting of the day. In Michigan, people say hello still on the street. Maybe not in Lansing; it's a big city, but in other places, people still say hello to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, down here in the South, everybody says hello. It doesn't matter. They always say
do.
Hello.
Are they doing that with the mask on?
Where I'm at here in the South, no. Some of them wear it, but like I've caught even like cashiers and stuff like not even wearing it. Like it doesn't. They're just kind of playing along, but life hasn't really changed for us down here in the South that much. At least where I live.
Yeah,
here I am in Hoot and Holler, West Virginia, and nobody from anywhere has been here in 6 months. How could we possibly have this virus?
So funny.
Hey, go ahead, Ropil, because I saw something else in the chat that I probably need to cover.
Okay, I just needed to say thank you to Hoyt Clagwell. He says, I watch you daily. Thank you for bringing everything to light. Thank you, Hoyt.
Sorry.
John Asturias says, don't forget to include the military units in certain nations. They specialize in cyber war and conduct operations daily, state-trained and zealous. And Cat Wheeler says, love you, Jim, Code Monkey, Red Pill and Methods. God bless you all. All right, methods. What were you going to say?
Yeah, real quick, just for the people out there, because we get it. Not everybody's been in this culture or they're new to this movement. Just to let you know, Ron, who I was referring to earlier, is Jim's son, which would have actually be Code Monkey, who we refer to a lot. That's the name that he goes by. So that's the reference there and all that. Because I've also seen people saying they're excited for Code Monkey to be on the air tonight. So you have that, and also what a baker is a baker is essentially the one, because the threads end, and sometimes they don't, and I don't understand it, but they end at 751 posts. And what the baker's doing is making sure that the next bread or thread shows up next, so people can move on and have the conversations, especially in reference to Q Research Board. The baker is collecting all what you would hear as notables that happen, like the information that needs to be carried on and gets shared. The baker is going through and collecting all those to make them available for the next bread. So that's what a baker is.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jim, Tumbleweed UK wants to know how 8kun is financed. I mean, it's your company, so I mean, I would imagine you're financing it, and you have a variety of income streams.
8kun is solely owned by Is It Wet Yet Inc.
Mm-hmm.
in Mississippi. We are in the congressional district of Benny Thompson is my congressman. He's the one who invited me to Capitol, so I made the company there, and 8kun is proudly in his district. And it's losing money, and I've been putting personal money into it to keep it going right now. That's how it's financed.
Wow. Well, thank you for doing that, for sure.
Before that, it was owned by my other company, and it got deplatformed, so we started over.
Start fresh. Hold on. Okay, we've only got 10 minutes left. My dog is looking at me like he wants to go outside, but he's going to have to wait.
Go outside. I got things I could talk about.
Yeah, no, me and Jim can handle it. Take your dog out, buddy.
Go ahead. All right, you guys.
Oh, he's super cute. Wow.
How's he feeling, man?
He's feeling a lot better. His name is Cisco. We call him Chi-Chi for short. He just had a couple of teeth out this week, so he's been a little more subdued than normal. But he's enjoying getting fed by hand fed by me every single day. I got to hand feed him 3 times a day because without the teeth he can't get the food out of the bowl, and he got it right in the front. So he's hitting his So I'm hand feeding him for about 2 weeks, and then he's going to be able to go back to eating on his own. Okay, give me just a sec, guys.
Question on the dog.
Yeah.
Do they have like where they can put fake teeth in?
Like George Washington?
Give him a grill?
Whale teeth? No, not that I know of. They didn't...
Like metal teeth or something?
Yeah, they didn't suggest it. I don't know, but...
yeah, Red Pill, go ahead and take him out, and I'll talk to Jim about Muffin Gate.
All right.
real quick.
Tell him about it.
Right, yeah, because I don't know if you were... Yeah, I assume you're not aware about it.
No.
Red Pill was doing a show here, and everybody in the chat will remember it, and I'll get him to send you the link after the show. He's doing the show. He's interviewing a couple of gentlemen that were great, and his 2 dogs, Muffin and Chi-Chi, the one that you just saw, decided to go at it. You know how dogs like to fight, and they were fighting, but they happened to have been under the desk. So live out of nowhere, Red Pill's just interviewing, the guest is talking, the 2 dogs go at it under his feet, and Red Pill has to react to it.
Yeah, you got to. You're going to get dead.
Right, and you have to also save the dogs from each other, right? Because they were really going at it. So it became a thing. Somebody screen capped it. I can't remember your name. If you're listening, I'm sorry. And took it to Twitter, and I think it's up to like 170,000 views on Twitter of Red Pill reacting to 2 dogs going to war at his feet live on air. And we just always appreciate it. So we call it Muffin Gate because that was one of the names of the dogs.
I wrote a song called Muffin Night.
Oh, there you go. Maybe we need to put your song to the video.
You can use it. It's quite all right. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, the whole chat heard it and all that. But yeah, Jim, we appreciate you being here and hanging out with us. Like I said, we've caught you on some of your live streams just listening and stuff. We knew that you just want to enjoy life. You want people to have free speech. You try to live in the moment. And it's just... To me, I always think about what I've seen over the last few years following 8chan and then now 8kun. Like, it would take somebody with your mindset to help keep this going along. And I don't think you might have an idea, but how much even just the Q Research Board has meant the world to this movement that we're in, and also just allowing it to happen and working through all that and all the troubles and going to Congress and doing all that stuff. So I hope that at least you can,
that costs money, but I was actually kind of proud to do that.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, we want you to be proud about that, Jim, because there's a lot of respect for you. And I get that all the time from people because of what you and Ron have created and are doing. And like you said, you've been chasing this free speech thing for decades, making sure people have that. But we have a lot of people that learned the word Chan as far as a board 2.5, 3 years ago. And it wouldn't have been possible if y'all weren't keeping it afloat. And that's been the beauty of it, man. And I just really hope that you do feel proud about it, because you genuinely should.
Well, that's why they can't turn it off too. Because we're not like, and I'm so sorry, I mentioned like 3 words that's gonna have you demonetized.
Hey, we
didn't do that on purpose. It just slipped out.
No, but we just flow with it. No apologies, man. We've had way worse said on here that we've just crossed our fingers and things have been all right this time. No worries, Jim, at all.
I don't think they'll turn you off for that, but
right.
But they can't turn me off legally now. They have to blatantly break the law to turn me off, and
right.
And they can't turn off 8kun by making all my advertisers go away. It's like, you know who my major advertiser is. He's not going to be embarrassed, I don't think.
Right.
It's like, anime what from Japan?
Right. Yeah. It is what it is. If people don't want to see it, turn on an ad blocker,
I was listening while I was downstairs with the dogs, and everything that Method said, I second it. I don't know if were you considering the fact that you might become this public icon for free speech when this all started?
No, I would much prefer to be making billions of dollars like these other guys.
Right.
I've come to realize it's not going to happen because I'm not willing to do the distasteful things that they're doing to get that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, don't you have? I've seen 8kun merchandise around. Is there some? Go ahead. Yeah. Where can we find that link real quick? Because I am seeing a lot of people in the chat that just want to support you. And I know that you're wanting to have free speech. You're not trying to push for the finance stuff, but we would like to personally let our audience know.
I need to get money. It has to pay for it.
All right. Well, then where can we go, and what links can we share for you, Jim?
We have isitwetyet.net, and at the top of that, there's a banner for shop, and it's got 8kun on it. Click on that banner. And then the items we have for sale are in there. And coming this week, probably this week, if not next week, we'll also be selling yoga pants.
Of course you are.
Are they unisex yoga pants or just for women?
They'll be 8kun yoga pants.
Okay, sweet.
made in America.
Beautiful.
All of the merchandise on the this is different from some other companies that are selling t-shirts. Mm-hmm. Some other billion-dollar companies that are selling t-shirts that are forcing other smaller people to use their company to sell t-shirts.
Those tiny hands for the small stitches.
Right.
Yeah, they need those little children and the prison labor to do it.
Right. Yeah,
all of our stuff is made in America.
No, that's great. So you're also supporting local stuff. Now, have you been selling 8kun masks yet? Is that a thing?
Masks are a good idea.
Yeah.
Right? At this point, if anything, if they're making, because we say it all the time, like us here in the South, we don't have to wear them, and other people are like, well, I have to for my job, or I have to for the grocery store.
Bird nose that I'm seeing in the animes.
Right? Yeah, but to me, if you have to wear it in your state because you have a dictator governor or whatever, what better way than wearing the 8kun logo, right?
But that's going to take time to acquire. And if this whole thing's going to be over by November, how long will it take us to be acquiring the masks made in America? Because that's our big thing. Everything's made in America.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the masks are not. And nothing wrong that they're made somewhere. Although I did see a video of one of the mask shops, and they were like guys in there with like sweaty bare feet and masks all over the floor, and they're bagging them. So, oh my God, I think they took that video off the internet.
Right. But yeah, regardless, we've been dropping the link in here like madmen. You guys, if you guys want to support Jim and what he's doing, he doesn't ask for any money, but he's obviously mentioned he doesn't mind it by any means.
I'll give you the link. It's shop.
Yeah, shop.isitwayet.com. Yep, we've been dropping it in the chat like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys want to support 8kun and all that stuff, that's the best way per Jim to do it. So guys, please definitely consider it if you can. We know tough times are going on right now, but by all means, let's definitely help him out. And I've had somebody bring it up in the chat. I think you walked away, Red Pill, so I don't think you saw it. We've been asked to invite Jim back on.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say it at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to have you back on. There's a lot of chat in here as well about doing a call-in show. Jim, would you be interested to do a call-in show sometime?
Sure, I can even do that with my. If you want to call in, that's fine.
Right.
I'm happy to talk to people.
Awesome.
What we'll do is we'll have you back on a Friday or Saturday night. Methods will come in. Normally, I just do the 2-hour interviews on Friday and Saturday nights, but we wanted to have you here with Methods and I both the first time you were on the channel. So next time we'll have you back on a Friday or Saturday. We'll do a
I'm trying to get back to the United States right now, so I don't know if I'm like traveling that day.
Sure.
Then
right. Well,
the first airplane I can get, I'm going.
hey, we'll work it out for sure. But yeah, we'll have you on a weekend. We'll do a first hour chat just like we did now, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely had a fun time talking with you, Jim. And then we'll do a second hour of call-ins where people can come in and chat with Jim.
That'd be fun. That'd
Yeah.
be a lot
Absolutely.
of fun. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, it's our pleasure to host you. Just let me do a couple of quick thank yous. Phil B wanted to ask how we can donate. Thanks for touching on that. Sunshine Again 1 says, everyone go buy an 8kun shirt. I'm buying Join or 404 right now. Son of a Green Card says, how much would it help if we all went and bought shirts? Definitely everybody go and do that.
A lot.
Yeah. Cat Wheeler says,
And
love you, Jim.
Too.
Yeah, stickers. You got keychains, I see. Paul Marshall says, being anonymous is simple yet effective. The power is in the truth. Casey Anon says, I wish a Patriot would make a polo option. That would be me right there. Trump Be Cool says, Jim, what did you do before the internet? Did you get your education in computer science? Research consisted of newspapers, the library in the olden days. And Red Pill Doc says, just saw where NIDA is accepting applications for CV-19 research until March 2021.
That's
all right.
a lot of questions.
It is. Don't worry about it.
Time?
You go ahead. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and answer, go ahead.
Can you repeat them?
Yeah. What's your educational background, and what did you do before the internet?
Well, I started out as a grave digger when I was a teenager, and before that, I did a lot of hay. I hayed. And then I became a grave digger, and then I was a commercial fisherman, and then I figured I would find something easier to do, so I went in the Army. And that's where I got my education, in the Army. I went to computer school in the Army, and that's it.
Excellent.
But I've been out of the Army since I got out of the Army the day that Bill Clinton was impeached.
Okay.
That's the same day I got out of the Army. So.
Oh, you'll never forget that day for sure.
Right.
All right, and then one more. Gloria Paddock said, happy Memorial Day, all. Much love. And I just want to say thank you to all of the mods for helping keep the chat comfy. Thank you to everybody who came here today and supported the show. Like it on your way out if you have not yet. Most especially, thank you, Jim, for being here, and we're looking forward to having you back in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, right. Thanks, you, Jim. Really appreciate it. And just as a reminder to everybody walking out the door, our new show, which will be titled and everything then, will be Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. It will be an hour-and-a-half show. It'll be the replacement for Quarantine. We're excited about it. I hope you guys can catch it. And besides that, great show. Loved hanging out and chatting with you guys, and much love to the chat. Have a good night.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Okay. Since you're not going to be on tomorrow, I'm going to be on Chris Croy's show tomorrow.
There you go.
All
what
right.
time?
And that's a different time. I think it's like 8 p.m., but I'm not sure what time zone.
All right. Well,
So,
mate, put an announcement out on Twitter or on your YouTube channel and the community page, and then everybody can tune in.
Thanks.
All right, awesome. And then John Asturias, one more, said, "Am I always out front?" Thanks to everybody once again for participating. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.
That's true. Bye-bye.